Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you're interested in today's video. The Japanese once declared, without Chinese machines, China will never be able to produce top-tier OLED screens. Before 2019, this statement was practically an ironclad industry rule. Who could have imagined that a piece of equipment, more expensive than a lithography machine, would be so effectively mastered by a Chinese company? Not only did they develop domestic vapor deposition machines, but their precision tripled, from the Japanese 5 microns to 1.5 microns. Japanese and South Korean media were furious, exclaiming, "Restrictions are necessary," and "market rules are being broken." Behind all this lies the two-decade struggle of China's display industry. For the past 2 decades, the global high-end vapor deposition machine market has been firmly controlled by Canon Toki, a subsidiary of Japan's Canon. It alone controls 95% of the global market share, earning $5 billion annually from equipment sales alone. This is no ordinary piece of equipment, it is the heart of OLED screen production. Without it, no matter how good the design or the materials, a usable screen cannot be produced. Its working principle is to precisely vapor deposit organic light-emitting materials onto a substrate in a vacuum environment, with accuracy controlled to within micrometers, equivalent to 1/100th the diameter of a human hair. Any deviation would render the entire screen useless. The Japanese are well versed in the art of monopoly. They produce only a few hundred devices annually, strictly controlling the delivery schedule. They prioritize supplying South Korean companies like Samsung and LG, while delaying, raising prices, and even changing their minds about Chinese companies. For a time, they openly refused to sell equipment to Chinese companies, only to sell to Samsung instead. When they finally relented, the price offered was outrageously high, 700 million renminbi per device, sometimes as high as 1.6 billion renminbi. Furthermore, the delivery time was dreadfully long, lasting 2 years. Furthermore, the other party's attitude was extremely arrogant, and after-sales service was constantly delayed. The Chinese companies could only endure this frustration. This frustration had been held for far too long. The turning point came from a Chinese company called huawei Smic. In 2014, they were determined to tackle this tough challenge. The R&D process was a grueling endeavor. Vapor deposition machines are no simple machines. They involve 3 core technologies: vacuum chamber design, temperature control of the evaporation sources, and a micron-level precision alignment system. Dozens of evaporation sources must operate simultaneously and precisely in a vacuum, with film thickness errors limited to 1/10,000th of a hair. The team dedicated 5 years to this endeavor. In 2019, the first domestically produced high-precision vacuum vapor deposition machine was finally launched. The results astounded everyone. Its positioning accuracy reached 1.5 microns, more than 3 times the 5 microns achieved by Japanese equipment. The film thickness uniformity error was controlled within 1%, with stability exceeding 98%. To achieve this extreme precision, Smic built a 30,000 square meter ultra-clean room, where the number of dust particles per cubic meter of air does not exceed 1,000, cleaner than a hospital operating room. The sudden emergence of domestically produced vapor deposition machines has directly reshaped the global market landscape. The most immediate change has been price. Japanese equipment has been forced to reduce prices by as much as 28%. Procurement costs for Chinese panel manufacturers have dropped significantly. Building a single production line used to cost 20 billion yuan just for equipment. Now, using domestically produced equipment has reduced costs by 30%. More importantly, the supply chain has become more secure. Chinese companies no longer have to rely on others for support, and after-sales service has evolved from begging for help to 24/7 on-site response. The yield rate of Chinese OLED panels has jumped from 63% to 89%. BOE screens have entered the iPhone 15 supply chain, and China Star Optoelectronics foldable screen yield has reached 95%, 5 percentage points higher than Samsung's. Market share has also climbed rapidly. In 2018, China's global share of OLED panels was only 11%. By 2022, it had soared to 37%, and by 2025, it was approaching 50%, surpassing South Korea for the first time to become the world's number one. Japanese and South Korean companies are getting restless. Japanese manufacturers are angrily accusing China of destabilizing the market with its own research and development and impacting upstream and downstream industries in Japan. South Korea's Samsung is trying to lobby other countries to prevent them from purchasing Chinese screens while accusing Chinese companies of copying. South Korean media outlets repeatedly exclaimed, "The pace of development is breathtaking, restrictions are necessary, and, if we don't take action, we'll be completely surpassed within 3 to 5 years." Behind these reactions lies a deep anxiety. The technological advantages that once dominated their market are rapidly disappearing. China's breakthroughs in vapor deposition equipment have also driven upgrades and increased autonomy across the entire industry chain. For example, Ruisian Technology in the Guangxi Free Trade Zone has developed a point evaporation shielding device that solves the problem of frequent shutdowns for material cleaning during vapor deposition production, enabling continuous production and directly increasing production capacity. Intelligence has become a new direction. The new generation of domestic vapor deposition equipment integrates machine vision, big data, and artificial intelligence. It can monitor parameters such as chamber temperature and gas flow in real time, automatically optimize the process through algorithms, and provide fault warnings. This has transformed the traditional production method that relied heavily on the experience of experienced technicians. The application of domestic vapor deposition equipment has also expanded from traditional display panels to a wider range of fields, including solar cells and semiconductors. For example, Huawei Zinihua has just shipped the world's first medium to large-scale roll-to-roll perovskite vapor deposition equipment, providing key support for the large-scale production of flexible perovskite solar cells. Although the overall domestic content rate for front-end equipment is less than 20%, with exposure machines and etching machines still reliant on imports, the domestic content rate for back-end module equipment has reached 85%, and the gap is rapidly narrowing. Looking back, the breakthrough of domestic evaporation equipment goes far beyond simply saving money. It means that China's display industry has finally gained control of its own core, freeing itself from the stranglehold of others. It has forced Japanese and South Korean companies to humble themselves and begin truly fair competition. A powerful piece of equipment comparable to a lithography machine, developed by the Chinese themselves,